The ship trembled as it drifted through the silent void, its control panels glowing with soft blue light. Inside the command deck, humans and aliens worked side by side, each focused on their duty. Among them sat Ryan, the only human officer on this ship, his hands busy adjusting the scanners, his voice calm as he read the incoming signals. Across from him stood Zayla, his alien colleague, tall and strong, her golden eyes glowing faintly under the control room lights. She was known among her people as fierce and proud, one who rarely spoke but always acted with power. Ryan leaned back in his chair, trying to ease the tension of the long night shift. The silence between them felt heavy, so he tried to break it with a light remark. "You know, I once met another female from your world," he said casually. "She worked on a trade ship, very different from you, always smiling." The words had barely left his mouth when a sharp sound tore through the room. Zayla's fist slammed down on the control panel. Sparks burst out, lights flickered, and alarms screamed. The whole ship jolted as the system went offline. Ryan jumped to his feet, eyes wide. "What the hell are you doing?" he shouted. His heart raced as he watched smoke rise from the damaged panel. Zayla's face twisted in fury, her sharp teeth bared. Her hands trembled as she pointed at him. Her voice was a low growl. "Do not speak of another female in front of me, human." The words chilled Ryan. He had seen her angry before, but never like this. This was not simple rage, this was something deeper, something born of fear and culture he could not yet understand. The alarms kept screaming, red lights flashed, and other crew members rushed in. A pair of engineers froze at the door, staring at the broken control system. "What happened here?" one shouted. Ryan looked at Zayla, waiting for her to explain, but she said nothing. Her golden eyes locked on him like blades ready to cut. "She smashed it," Ryan said, his voice low. "Just because I mentioned someone else," gasps filled the room. The aliens whispered among themselves, their voices sharp and fearful. One of them muttered, "He does not know." "He truly does not know," Ryan frowned. "Know what? What's going on?" No one answered him. The silence was worse than the alarms. The captain's voice came over the intercom. "Report, command deck, why are the systems offline?" Ryan opened his mouth, but Zayla cut him off. Her voice was sharp. "The human insulted me," she declared. "I responded as tradition demands." Tradition? Ryan's mind spun. He looked at the cracked panel, the sparks still flying, the ship drifting without control. He could not believe what he was hearing. "You nearly crippled the ship over." "Words?" he asked. Zayla stepped closer, towering over him, her breath hot with anger. "You will not say her name again. You will not speak of another in front of me, or I will do more than break steel." The crew members backed away. Some looked at Ryan with pity, others with fear. It was clear they all knew something he did not. Outside the viewport, stars drifted by slowly. The ship was no longer on its course. Systems that controlled their orbit were dead. If they did not fix this soon, they would drift into the meteor belt ahead. Ryan's hands shook as he pressed the backup controls, but they refused to respond. Sparks burned his fingers. "Damn it," he cursed. "The whole navigation is fried." Zayla did not flinch. She stood like a predator, her chest rising and falling with heavy breaths. She was not worried about the danger outside. Her eyes never left him. Ryan's mind screamed for answers. Why would she risk all their lives for such a thing? What secret law of her people made her so violent at the mention of another female? He stepped closer, his own anger rising now. "Tell me what this is about," he demanded. "Why do you care so much about what I said?" Her lips curled into something between a snarl and a smile, but it was cold, deadly. "Because," she whispered, "you touched a wound you cannot see, a law that binds me tighter than chains." Her words gave him no comfort, only more confusion. The alarms continued to echo. The crew whispered nervously, and the ship drifted toward danger. Ryan realized then this was not just anger, not just jealousy. This was something larger, something that could cost them all their lives. And as Zayla turned away, her fists still clenched, Ryan felt a chill run through his spine. He had no idea what storm he had just unleashed. The control deck reeked of smoke and tension. The crew was silent, watching, waiting. Their fate now hung in the balance, not because of the meteors outside, but because of the furious alien standing beside him. And Ryan knew this was only the beginning. The smoke still lingered in the control room, thin gray clouds twisting above the broken panel. Ryan stood frozen, his hands still trembling from the sparks that had burned his skin. His heart pounded in his chest. Not from the damage, but from the words Zayla had just spoken. The crew whispered around him, their eyes darting between the human and the furious alien female. Some of them looked away in shame, others in fear. It was as if they all shared a secret that only Ryan had been kept blind to. The captain's voice thundered again over the intercom. "Command deck, report at once. Why are we drifting?" Ryan tried to answer, but Zayla stepped forward. Her golden eyes glared at the ceiling as she said, "I will take responsibility." Her voice was calm now, but cold, heavy with something deeper than simple anger. The intercom fell silent. The captain didn't ask further questions. He must have understood, Ryan thought. Everyone here knew something except him. Ryan clenched his jaw. He was tired of being treated like a child, like an outsider. "Someone explain." He snapped, his voice rising above the alarms. "Why does a few words about another female make her smash a control panel? Why does it scare all of you?" The whispers stopped, but no one dared to answer. Finally, one of the younger alien crew members, her voice shaking, said quietly, "Human, you spoke a forbidden thing. You cannot compare one female to another in her presence. It is death law." Ryan blinked, not believing. "Death law? That's insane, you mean to tell me. Just mentioning someone else can lead to this?" The girl nodded, her face pale. She refused to meet his eyes. Zayla growled low. "Silence," she ordered. "He does not need your words. He will learn from me." Ryan stepped closer to Zayla, ignoring the warning tone in her voice. "Then tell me yourself. Why does your culture cling to such madness?" For a moment, Zayla said nothing. Her fists were still clenched, her chest rising and falling in heavy breaths. Then, with a voice low and rough, she said, "Because one female must be enough. If her male speaks of another, it means her bond is broken, and she is worthless." The words struck Ryan harder than he expected. He shook his head. "That's not how humans think. We talk about people all the time. It doesn't mean anything like that." Her eyes narrowed, glowing brighter in the flashing red light of the alarms. "You are not human here. You are in my space and in my world." Such words can kill. Her tone made Ryan's blood run cold. He finally understood why the crew looked so shaken. This wasn't just about a broken control panel. It was about something larger. An ancient custom tied to honor, life and death. Suddenly, a heavy thud echoed through the ship. Everyone turned toward the main viewport. In the distance, a glowing meteor field loomed, massive stones tumbling slowly through the void. With navigation offline, their ship was drifting straight toward it. The crew scrambled, racing to reroute power to the auxiliary systems, but the damage was severe. Sparks flew as wires were pulled. Tools clattered and curses filled the air. Ryan grabbed a toolkit and dropped to his knees beside the ruined panel. "We don't have time for this madness," he said sharply. "If we don't fix this, we're all going to be space dust in minutes." He forced open the casing, smoke stinging his eyes. His hands shook as he tried to reconnect the glowing circuits. Zayla knelt beside him, her large hands steady as she pushed away his tools. "Your methods are too slow, let me," she said. Ryan hesitated, but the look in her eyes told him she wasn't angry anymore. She was determined. She tore into the wires with precise movements, her claws slicing through melted metal like a surgeon's scalpel. Sparks burned her skin, but she didn't flinch. Ryan watched her work, his mind racing with questions. He finally asked, his voice low, "Is this why you reacted like that? Because in your clan even words can bring death?" Zayla didn't look at him, her focus fixed on the wires. "Yes," she said simply. "You insulted me without knowing. But my clan will not care about your ignorance. They will demand punishment." Ryan's chest tightened. "Punishment for me? Or for you?" She paused, her golden eyes finally meeting his. "Both," she whispered. The word echoed in his mind like a hammer. Both, that meant neither of them was safe. Suddenly, the ship lurched violently. A meteor scraped against the shields, shaking the entire deck. Lights dimmed. Sparks showered from above. The crew screamed, holding onto railings. The shields groaned under the strain. Ryan tightened his grip on the panel to keep steady. "We're out of time," he shouted. "Get it working now!" Zayla roared, a sound so fierce it silenced the crew. Her hands slammed the final circuit into place. A surge of energy raced through the system. The alarm shifted from red to orange. Navigation flickered alive for a moment, then steadied. The ship slowly shifted course, scraping past the edge of the meteor field. Everyone let out a breath of relief, but the silence after was heavy. Filled with unspoken fear, Ryan leaned back, Sweat dripping down his face, his heart was still racing. Not just from the near crash, but from the truth he had learned. This wasn't over. The ship was safe for now. But Zayla's clan would hear of this, and when they did, both human and alien would face something worse than meteors. Ryan glanced at Zayla. Her golden eyes still burned with fire. But now it wasn't only anger, it was fear and something else he couldn't yet name. He realized then that he hadn't just triggered her rage. He had triggered her entire world, and that world was coming for them. The ship drifted at the edge of the meteor field, the shields crackling faintly from the last impact. Silence filled the control deck except for the soft hum of emergency systems. Every crew member stood tense, their eyes darting toward Ryan and Zayla, as if the real danger was not outside but between the two of them. Ryan wiped the sweat from his forehead, his hands still blackened from smoke and sparks. He breathed hard, trying to calm the pounding in his chest. The meteor storm had passed them by, but something worse remained. The unspoken tension. Zayla stood tall, her golden eyes glowing in the dim orange lights. Her chest rose and fell like a caged predator. She was calm on the outside now, but Ryan could feel the heat of her fury still burning beneath her skin. The young alien engineer whispered to a colleague, "The clan will come. They always come when the law is broken." Ryan caught the words and frowned. "The clan? What do you mean? Who's coming?" No one answered. They turned their faces away, pretending to check panels, pretending to be busy. Their fear was louder than any alarm. Ryan stepped forward, pointing at Zayla. You owe me answers. You almost killed us all over some twisted rule, and now your people might come to finish the job. Tell me the truth, Zayla, what's really going on?" Her jaw clenched, the muscles tightening as if she was holding back words that burned like fire. She finally growled, "You don't understand. Human, you never will. This is not about you." Ryan's anger flared. His voice rose. "Not about me. You destroyed our controls. You almost killed everyone on the ship. If that's not about me, then what is?" The crew held their breath, their eyes locked on the two. The storm outside battered the shields again, faint tremors rocking the floor, but no one moved. All attention was fixed on the storm inside. Zayla's eyes narrowed, sharp as blades. Her voice was low but powerful. "You spoke another female's name. Do you know what that means in my culture? It means betrayal. It means weakness. It means I have failed my role, and if word spreads, my clan will take my life to erase the shame." Her words hit Ryan like a heavy weight. He finally understood. Her rage was not just jealousy, it was survival. "So that's it?" he asked softly. "You'd rather smash a ship's controls than let anyone think you're weak?" Zayla stepped closer, towering over him. Her voice shook with raw emotion. "If I am seen as weak, my bloodline ends, my name erased. My body cast into the void. You don't know what it means to live under such laws." Ryan's heart tightened. He wanted to argue, to call it madness, but he saw the truth in her eyes. Fear and pride tangled together, burning brighter than any star. Outside the viewport, the storm raged. Meteors crashed into each other, fireballs exploding in the void. The light reflected across Zayla's face, making her look both terrifying and broken at once. Ryan turned to the rest of the crew. "And you all knew? You all let this happen without telling me?" No one met his gaze. Finally, the young engineer whispered again, "Humans don't belong in clan law." "It was not for you to know." Ryan's voice cracked with frustration. "Not for me to know. I'm standing here risking my life with all of you, and you kept me blind?" The captain's voice came again through the intercom, calm but heavy. "Ryan, enough. The storm is not over. Focus on keeping us alive. The clan will deal with the rest." Those words made Ryan's blood run cold. The clan will deal with the rest. It wasn't just a warning. It was a death sentence waiting to fall. Zayla turned from him, her claws digging into the railing. She stared at the raging storm outside, her reflection caught in the glass. Softly, she said, "You should hate me, human. But instead you look at me with questions. Why? Why do you not fear me like the others?" Ryan took a deep breath, his anger cooling into something else. "Because I don't believe in fear, I believe in choice, and right now, we have a choice to survive together or die apart." Her eyes flickered. Uncertain for the first time, the fire inside her did not go out. But it shifted, less rage, more conflict. Another meteor slammed into the shields, jolting the entire deck. A console exploded in sparks. Crew members shouted, "We can't hold much longer." Ryan rushed to the damaged station, his fingers flying across the manual keys. "If we don't get out of this storm, it won't matter what your clan thinks. Zayla stood beside him, her presence heavy. She slammed her palm against the override, lending her strength to his quick hands. Together the system hummed back to life, the engines roared, pushing the ship away from the densest part of the storm. The crew cheered softly, relief filling the air. But Ryan's heart was far from calm. He could feel Zayla's eyes on him, studying him, judging him. The storm outside began to fade, but inside the ship, a greater storm had only begun, Zayla whispered under her breath, almost too soft to hear. They will come for me. And now they will come for you too. Ryan froze, his hand still on the console. The fire in her words told him she wasn't warning him. She was preparing him. And deep inside, Ryan knew the worst was yet to come. The storm outside had faded into a distant glow, but inside the ship the air was heavier than ever. No one spoke. Every crew member moved carefully, as if one wrong word would shatter the fragile silence. Ryan stood near the broken console, his arms crossed, his face still marked by smoke and frustration. Zayla paced like a predator trapped in a cage, her claws clicking against the steel floor. Her golden eyes burned, but behind them Ryan saw something different now. Fear. Hidden but strong, the captain finally appeared in person, stepping into the command deck with a grim face. His tall alien frame carried authority, and the crew immediately lowered their heads. "Report," he said, his voice deep. Ryan opened his mouth, but Zayla cut him off. "I am responsible," she said quickly, her tone sharp. The human spoke the forbidden words. "I acted as our law demands." The crew shifted uncomfortably, their whispers filling the corners of the room. The captain's eyes narrowed. "So it is true," he said softly. "Then the signal has already been sent." Ryan frowned, his voice rising. "Signal? What signal? No one told me about a signal." The captain didn't answer, but Zayla froze. Her claws dug into the railing until sparks flew. Her jaw tightened and her eyes flickered with pain. Ryan stepped forward, pointing at her. "You know something? You've known since the moment you smashed that panel. Tell me, Zayla, what did you do?" Her chest rose and fell faster. Her pride fought against her fear, but Ryan refused to back down. "You nearly killed us with that stunt," he continued. "I deserve to know the truth. You owe me that much." The captain's voice was firm. "Enough, human. This is not for you to—" Ryan slammed his hand on the console, sparks burning his skin again. His voice cracked with anger. "No, I won't be kept in the dark anymore. Not when my life is at risk too. Tell me the truth." The room went silent. The crew held their breath, all eyes on Zayla. Her golden gaze locked on Ryan, sharp and trembling. Her lips parted, but no words came at first. Then, with a voice rough as stone, she said, "When I struck the panel, I did more than vent my rage. I triggered the beacon. My clan knows they will come to judge me. And to judge you." The words hit Ryan like a blade. He felt the blood drain from his face. "Judge me? For what? I didn't do anything." Zayla's voice shook, her pride crumbling. "You spoke another female's name in my presence. In their eyes, it means I failed to hold your loyalty. And if I fail, they will erase me. But because you spoke, you are bound in the law as well." Ryan staggered back, his heart pounding. The crew turned away, unable to watch. They had all known this truth, and they had kept silent. Ryan's voice broke. "So, I'm marked too? Just because of words?" Zayla's fist tightened until blood dripped from her claws. She nodded once, sharply. "Yes," she said, "you are tied to me now. You cannot escape it." He shook his head, disbelief flooding his mind. "This is madness. Pure madness." The captain's voice was heavy. "Madness or not, the clan enforces it, and their warship is already on its way. We cannot outrun them." Ryan looked at the viewport. The stars stretching endless, but now they felt like a prison. He thought of Earth, of freedom, of choices humans could make without chains of law. And now he was trapped in a game he never chose to play. Zayla turned away, her shoulders trembling. She whispered, almost too soft to hear. "I tried to protect you. I thought if I reacted fast, if I destroyed the panel, they might believe I punished you already, but the signal, it betrayed me." Her confession hung in the air like smoke. Ryan felt the weight of her words, the fire in her eyes, and the shadow of her fear. For the first time, he saw her not as a furious alien, but as someone trapped by her own people's cruel chains. And against his own anger, he felt a flicker of pity. The crew scattered to repair systems, but their movements were slow, distracted by the looming doom. Ryan walked closer to Zayla, lowering his voice. "You could have let me die in ignorance, but you told me why." She looked at him, her golden eyes glistening with something raw. "Because now you must choose, human. Will you fight beside me when my clan arrives? Or will you let them tear me apart to save yourself? Ryan's breath caught, his mind spun. He was just a human technician, not a warrior, not a leader. Yet here he stood, marked by alien law with a choice that could change both their fates. Before he could answer, the ship's sensors blared. A sharp tone echoed through the deck. The captain's face went pale. "They are here," he said. His voice like a funeral bell. Ryan turned toward the viewport, and his stomach dropped out of the black void. A massive warship emerged, its hull bristling with weapons. Its symbols glowing in red, the clan had arrived, and judgment was about to begin. The massive warship filled the viewport like a shadow that swallowed the stars. Its crimson symbols pulsed like beating hearts across its hull. Each one was a warning. Justice was coming. The crew of Ryan's ship fell into silence. No one daring to breathe too loud, Ryan stood frozen, his fists clenched at his sides. He could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on him. This wasn't just an alien clan coming for Zayla. They were coming for him too, for words he had spoken without meaning. The intercom crackled, a voice deep and harsh filled the deck. "This is the war clan Vare. We sense the mark of betrayal. Hand over the accused." The crew stiffened. Their eyes turned to Zayla, and then to Ryan. The captain's face was grim. He looked at Ryan with something close to pity. "They demand justice," he said quietly. "And justice must be given." Ryan's blood boiled, his voice rose. "Justice? For what crime? For words? For mentioning another female? You can't be serious." But no one spoke in his defense. Their silence was the answer. Zayla's claws tapped against the railing. Her shoulders tight, she didn't look at Ryan. She didn't look at anyone. Her golden eyes stayed locked on the warship, glowing with a fire of defiance and dread. The docking clamps of the warship clanged against their hull. The deck shuddered as the airlocks aligned. Heavy footsteps echoed through the corridor, the sound of warriors boarding. The crew scattered to the sides of the command deck, heads bowed. Ryan stood alone in the center, his chest heaving. Zayla did not move. Her face was carved from stone. The doors hissed open. A squad of armored aliens stormed in, their armor black with crimson lines, their helmets shaped like beasts, their weapons glowing with crackling energy. At their center strode a towering figure, an elder warrior, scars etched across his skin. His eyes burned with authority. He raised his hand, and the room fell into silence. "Zayla of Clan Vare," he declared, "you are accused of failure. You allowed a human male to dishonor you with his words. Do you deny it?" Zayla's jaw tightened. Her voice came out sharp. "I do not deny it." "Elder?" The elder's gaze turned toward Ryan, his lip curled. "And you, human, you dared to speak. You are bound by our law. You will face judgment." Ryan's stomach twisted. Every part of him wanted to run, to hide, but he forced himself to stand tall. He raised his voice, his words sharp. "Your law is broken. It is madness. I spoke words, nothing more. No life should be judged for that." The room froze. Gasps echoed from the crew. No one had ever dared to challenge clan law, especially not an outsider. The elder's eyes narrowed. "You dare defy us? A human with no bloodline, no honor, no place in our ways?" Ryan stepped forward, fire in his voice. "Maybe I have no place in your clan, but I know what's right. I know life is worth more than rules written in fear. If you kill her, if you kill me, what does it prove? That your strength is so fragile even words can shatter it?" The crew stirred, whispers spreading like sparks in dry grass. The warriors bristled, their weapons buzzing. But the elder raised his hand to silence them. He studied Ryan with cold eyes. But behind that cold, Ryan sensed something else. Doubt. Zayla turned her head, her eyes wide. She had not expected Ryan to stand for her. Not like this. For a moment, the fire in her chest wavered, replaced by something she could not name. The elder finally spoke, his tone low. "You speak boldly, human, but bold words cannot erase law. The law demands punishment." Ryan's voice did not falter. "Then punish me. Don't touch her. She only acted because of your chains. She broke that panel to save herself, but it was me who spoke the words." "I will take the weight." The crew gasped again. Zayla's claws dug into the railing. "No," she hissed under her breath, her heart twisted with conflict. The elder tilted his head, intrigued. "You would sacrifice yourself? For her?" Ryan locked eyes with him, his voice steady. "Yes. Because I don't fear your law, I don't fear your chains. I am human, and I will not bow." The silence was crushing. Every warrior stood still. Every crew member held their breath. Zayla stared at him, her chest rising and falling rapidly. Her fire shifted again. No longer rage, no longer fear, something stronger. The elder finally raised his hand. His voice rang through the deck. So be it. The human chooses defiance, then let the trial of strength decide. If he survives, both walk free. If he falls, both are erased. The warriors roared in approval. Their voices shaking the walls, Ryan's blood ran cold, but his fists clenched tighter. He didn't know what trial awaited him, but he would face it. Zayla stepped forward, her voice sharp. Elder, this is madness. The elder silenced her with a glare. The choice has been made. His life will prove his words true or false. Ryan turned to Zayla, meeting her burning eyes. I'm not afraid, he said quietly, though his heart raced. If I back down now, then your law wins, and I won't let that happen. For the first time since this began, Zayla's lips parted in something close to a smile. A fierce, broken smile. You are a fool. Human, she whispered. But maybe you are my kind of fool. The warriors stepped forward, forming a circle. The trial was about to begin. Ryan stood at the center, small against their towering figures. But his spirit burned bright. The elder's voice thundered like a storm. Let the trial of strength begin. The command deck had transformed into an arena. The alien warriors formed a circle, their armored bodies glowing under the red symbols etched into their suits. Weapons hummed with energy, though none were raised. The trial of strength was to be fought with bare hands. Without tools, without mercy, Ryan stood at the center, sweat dripping down his forehead. His heart pounded, but his eyes burned with defiance. He was smaller than every warrior around him. Weaker by alien standards, but he refused to kneel. The elder warrior's voice boomed. By the law of Clan Vare, the accused will fight. The human's words of defiance shall be tested. If his strength breaks, his truth dies with him. The crew huddled in the corner, silent, their eyes filled with fear and pity. Zayla stood just outside the circle, her claws clenched so tightly blood dripped from her palms. Her jaw was set, but her golden eyes were full of storm. Ryan turned his head, meeting her gaze. He gave her a small nod. Don't worry, he said softly, though his voice trembled. I've been in worse fights. She almost laughed at the madness, but it stuck in her throat. This was no brawl in a human bar. This was ritual combat where defeat meant death. The first warrior stepped forward, towering over Ryan like a mountain. His armor glinted, his muscles rippled under scaled skin. He snarled, "Weak flesh will not survive." The elder raised his hand, then dropped it. Begin. The warrior lunged, claws slicing through the air. Ryan ducked, rolling to the side. His heart screamed at him to run, but his legs pushed forward instead. He swung a punch into the alien's ribs, only to feel like he had struck stone. Pain shot through his arm, but he clenched his teeth and refused to cry out. The warrior laughed, a deep growl shaking the deck. He swung his arm like a hammer, smashing Ryan across the floor. Sparks flew as Ryan's body skidded against the metal. Gasps filled the air. Zayla's claws scraped the railing. Ryan groaned, his chest burning. But instead of lying down, he forced himself up. He spat blood to the floor and glared at the warrior. That all you got? Whispers spread among the crew, shock mixed with disbelief. No one expected the human to stand again. The warrior roared and charged once more. But this time Ryan was ready. He sidestepped, grabbing a loose cable from the floor. Sparks flickered at its end with a desperate move. He whipped it across the warrior's eyes. The alien howled, blinded for a moment. Ryan threw himself forward. Tackling the giant's knee, the alien stumbled. Crashing against the deck with a thunderous boom, the circle of warriors erupted in shouts, some angry, some surprised. The elder's eyes narrowed, but he raised his hand for silence. Continue, he ordered. Ryan staggered back. Panting, his body ached, his knuckles split open. But fire burned in his chest. He had scored a hit. He had proven humans could fight with more than muscle. They could fight with cunning. The second warrior entered, leaner but faster. Her claws gleamed under the red light. She circled Ryan like a predator testing prey. Zayla shouted from the edge, "Don't meet her speed with speed. Use your ground." Ryan nodded faintly, though his mind was foggy with pain. He crouched lower, forcing his body into defense. The warrior darted forward, claws flashing. Ryan caught her wrist. Twisting with every ounce of strength, she hissed and slashed across his arm. Blood spraying, he gritted his teeth. Ignoring the pain, he drove his forehead into her jaw. A desperate human move, the crack echoed. She stumbled, stunned. Ryan grabbed her arm and yanked, throwing her into the circle's edge. She hit the ground hard, gasping. The warriors growled in protest. But the elder raised his hand again. "Enough," he said, his eyes locked on Ryan. "The human bleeds but does not break." Ryan stood trembling. His breaths ragged, blood dripped down his arm, his face swollen, his body screamed for rest. But his spirit, his human spirit, stood tall. Zayla's golden eyes widened. Her heart thundered in her chest. She had thought this human would crumble in moments. Yet here he stood, broken but unbent. The elder stepped forward now, his massive form dwarfing Ryan. His voice was like thunder. "The law demands the final strike. I will test you myself." Gasps echoed through the crew. Even the warriors shifted uneasily. For an elder to fight meant the trial had become more than judgment. It had become spectacle. Ryan's knees wobbled, his vision blurred. But he raised his fists anyway. "If it's me you want," he panted. "Then come get me." The elder smiled coldly. "You carry no claws, no armor, yet you carry fire. Let us see if it burns brighter than law." He stepped into the circle, his shadow covering Ryan like a storm cloud. Zayla's chest ached. She wanted to rush forward to shield him, but she knew the clan would cut her down if she interfered. The elder raised his hand, claws glinting. "This is the clash of traditions," he growled. "Human defiance against clan law, one will stand, the other erased." Ryan tightened his fists, his voice hoarse but fierce. "Then I'll make sure your law falls first." The circle tightened. The crew held their breath. The elder lunged forward, the final clash about to begin. The elder moved like a storm, his claws slashing through the air with deadly speed. Ryan barely dodged, the strike grazing his cheek, leaving a burning line of blood. The crew gasped, and Zayla's claws scraped the railing as if her own skin had been cut. Ryan staggered back, his chest heaving. His legs wanted to give out, but he forced them to hold. The elder circled him, each step heavy, echoing like a drumbeat of doom. "You are broken already," the elder growled. "One more strike and you fall." Ryan spat blood to the floor and smirked weakly. "Funny. People have said that to me before, and I'm still here." The elder roared and lunged again. His claws came down like blades. Ryan raised his arms, catching the strike. The pain was blinding, but he twisted, using the elder's own momentum with a desperate move. Ryan drove his knee into the elder's stomach. The alien grunted, more surprised than hurt. Gasps echoed around the circle. No outsider had ever landed a strike on an elder. Ryan stumbled back, almost collapsing, his vision blurred with sweat and blood. But inside, something burned brighter than ever. He wasn't fighting for victory. He was fighting to prove humans could never be broken. The elder's eyes narrowed for the first time. Respect flickered in his gaze. He straightened, towering taller. "You are weak in body, but not in fire," he said, his voice carrying weight. "Your spirit does not bend." Ryan's breath rattled in his chest. He whispered hoarsely, "Then admit it, your law is wrong," the warriors murmured, angered by his words, but the elder raised his hand. Silencing them, he studied Ryan, then turned to Zayla. "Your human has stood where no outsider should. He has faced death and spat in its face for that. The law bends." The crew gasped in shock. Zayla's golden eyes widened, her lips parting in disbelief. You mean he is spared?" she asked, her voice trembling. The elder nodded once. "Both are spared. His strength has proven her worth together. They stand outside the shadow of failure." The warriors pounded their fists to their chests, acknowledging the judgment, though many scowled. Ryan collapsed to his knees, his body giving out, but he smiled faintly. Blood on his lips. "Told you." "I'm not afraid," he muttered. Zayla rushed forward, breaking the circle for the first time. She knelt beside him, lifting him gently in her strong arms. Her claws trembled as they brushed against his bruised face. "You fool," she whispered, her voice breaking. "You should be dead. But instead you chose to fight for me." Ryan coughed weakly. "Couldn't let them erase you. Not for something so stupid." Her chest tightened. She had lived her whole life under the crushing weight of clan law, never imagining anyone would defy it for her. Yet here was a fragile human, broken and bleeding, who had stood against the impossible. The elder stepped closer, his voice heavy. "Do not mistake mercy for freedom. You both still carry the mark. But now you carry it together." Ryan looked up through swollen eyes. "Together's fine. I've been alone long enough." Zayla's breath caught, her golden eyes softened. the fire inside her changing for the first time. She felt something deeper than pride or fury, something she couldn't name. But it burned warmer than rage. The warriors withdrew, the trial over. The elder gave one final command. Leave this ship, return to your course. The clan has spoken. The heavy footsteps echoed away. The airlock sealed and the warship slowly drifted back into the void. Its shadow fading into the stars, the crew exhaled in relief. The suffocating weight finally lifting. Some stared at Ryan with awe, others with confusion, but none could deny what they had seen. Zayla helped Ryan to his feet. Supporting his broken frame with surprising gentleness, her voice was low, almost a whisper. You could have saved yourself. You could have let them take me. Why didn't you? Ryan leaned against her, his lips curling in a weak smile. Because that's not what humans do. We don't abandon people, not when it matters. Her chest ached with emotions she had never felt. She lowered her head, pressing her forehead gently against his, a gesture of her people reserved only for the deepest bonds. You are mine now, human, she whispered. Not by law, not by force, but because you chose it. Ryan's heart skipped. His body screamed in pain, but in that moment he felt lighter, freer, as if something greater had begun. The crew watched silently, none daring to interrupt. They knew something had changed forever, between the human and the alien warrior, and perhaps between two worlds as the ship steadied on its course once more. Ryan closed his eyes, exhaustion finally pulling him under. Zayla carried him with ease, her arms strong but her touch gentle. She looked out the viewport at the fading stars, her golden eyes glowing with a new fire, one not of rage but of promise. The clan will come again, she whispered to herself, but when they do, we will be ready. Her gaze fell back to Ryan, unconscious but alive, and for the first time in her life she felt unafraid, because the fire inside her was no longer hers alone. It was theirs.